Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey, hey.
All right. All right, Rick. Well, how are you doing tonight, Rick? How'd your day go today?
Pretty, pretty good. Can always be better, or almost always you can be better.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah. Quick question.
today.
Yeah. Okay. Quick. Another quick question here for you. Does Canada use daylight savings time?
Yes.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Or
I was wondering.
most of it does. I think there's a couple spots that don't, but
Okay. I was just wondering because I know. See, now with it being the 25th, yeah, I think it's about 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, basically. Here in the States, we start daylight saving. I was just wondering if you guys were going to be starting it up as well. So that's why I was
yeah.
asking. So, anyways, so for me, I pretty much I got up today. I went up, got my energy drink from walked up to the store, got my energy drink, came back here, got caught up on some of my wrestling subscriptions, basically. Um, with AEW and all that.
Yep.
Then and got up with my YouTube, the rest of my YouTube subscriptions as well. Then prep for the show. Watch some cartoons while I killed some time, played some games, a little bit of everything, and actually one of the things I was doing today too. One of the, because I was watching some stuff on Cartoon Lane, and of course they had some Superman, the Fleischer Superman cartoons, the ones from the 40s.
Ah, cool,
and
cool, cool, cool.
and one of the cartoons they had on there was the magnetic telescope. And I started thinking, wow, look at that! Back in the 40s, there were some pretty interesting plots. So, um, the the plot of the magnetic telescope, there was this scientist who was looking for a way to study comets. So what he decided to do, he decided to build this, as the title implied, this magnetic telescope that when he sent the beam out into space and get hold of a comet, he could actually draw the comet to Earth. Um, so he could bring it in, study it, and then send it back out into space. Well, the only thing was, of course, is that everybody else in the city had an issue with that because that was kind of a safety issue there. So what happened in the early part of the cartoon, of course, is the comet gets drawn to Earth, and of course the gravity adds to the speed, of course, and it ends up landing in the street and then rolling to the street and doing a whole bunch of damage. And people in the city basically are telling the assignment, "Hey, look, you got to stop doing what you're doing because you're endangering lives." And he's making the argument, well, yeah, but I'm doing it for the greater good. I'm doing it for science, right? You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, so I have to sacrifice some lives, but I'm not gonna end my work just because you tell me to. So, um, and you did see um, like you saw some instances like Superman trying to um, now, granted, this is before Superman had developed the power of flight and near omnipotence, that he was depicted on in Silver Age. This is based on his Golden Age bio,
Yeah.
and um, and
Yeah.
he'd be leaping up towards the comet to try to stop it or steer it away or something like that, and then you see him fling back to Earth. It's like sending him crashing
Yeah.
back to Earth. And eventually, they did stop it, but Superman started to gyre because the police had interrupted the power flow of the magnetic, basically turning off all the power. The scientist was going fools don't mess with the machine, because if you mess with the machine, we're all doomed. But they and so because he was explaining to him, if you turn off the machine, then the Earth's gravity will still bring the comet down on us. It's out of my control.
Basically, when the machine is on, I have the control. No power, no machine working, no control.
So it's like, and Superman and Lois got the magnetic telescope working again, and they were able to send send the comet back out into space. But you see an example here of, as I said, flightless Superman utilizing his jumping ability. As he grabs Lois, and then he goes and eventually catches the bad guy, and of course you basically see from Superman's jump perspective, him looking down on the city, let's say somebody was to jump super high or something like that, and they look down, you get that angle in there. So that was kind of cool. Now, of course, a lot of these people, this is a Fleischer. These are the Fleischer cartoons. So, of course, it's the same company that gave us Betty Boop and Popeye. Of course, by this point in time, I think they had stopped doing Betty Boop, but they were still doing Pop. Before famous studios were starting to take over at the end of 42 when Fleischer went bankrupt, and when Fleischer went bankrupt, and Amos took over, and then of course they continued the Popeye series. They basically finished up the Superman series by 43, and then of course they would eventually also bring, they started out with novel tunes, which eventually became Harvey tunes, and that was like a lot of the Harvey comics cartoons, like Casper the Friendly Ghost, Little Audrey, Baby Huey, all those.
Yeah.
So that was some pretty good stuff there.
Wendy Witch, I think it was too.
Yeah, Wendy. Yeah, Wendy Witch. Wendy the Witch was part of Casper's comic. Wendy the Witch was. Casper and his supporting characters were Spooky and Wendy Witch. I said you had Baby Huey and his parents. You had Little Audrey. You had like Tommy Tortoise and Mohair, Hector and Catnip. So, so that was all pretty interesting. So, and of course, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but pretty much from 1942, when Famous took over and moved the studio back to New York for like the next, let's see, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, for the next 4 decades, pretty much. Jackson Beck, Jack Mercer, and Mae Quetzal had all worked together as Bluto, Popeye, and Olive Oil, respectively. And they were all, in essence, 2 years. And the thing was, too, they were all, in essence, 2 years apart from each other. Mae Quetzal, I think, was born September 18th, 1908. Jack Mercer, it was, I think, January 31st, 1910. And then Jackson Beck was born July of 1912. And Jackson Beck, of course, he was pretty well known through, he was pretty well known through the Fleischer, through the famous studios, Parlay cartoons. He lent his voice to a few other of the Fleischer / famous productions. And then he would later do announcing work for both Filmation and G.I. Joe, actually, for Hasbro's G.I. Joe. He was the announcer's voice in the just like basically the Filmation's DC cartoons of the late 60s. Like like the Adventures of Superman, the New Adventures of Superboy, Justice League, all those shorts. And then he would also go on and later and be the narrator for G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Now let me just remind everybody. Oh, go ahead. Oh, and if you haven't already, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Rick.
I was just gonna say, back in the beginning of animation, there, especially for those type of cartoons, there was very few, voice actors, I believe, and usually the voice actors they had like one or two.
Well, yeah. Well, depending upon the company and stuff like that, there were like for Fleischer / Famous, it was like, as I said, it was a lot of the roles were being done by, um, Jackson Beck, Jack Mercer, and Mercer. Not only was he a voice actor, he was also one of the writers for a number of the cartoons as well. And Mae Quetzal was for a time there doing not just she was doing Olive Oil. She was voicing little Audrey. She was one of like 3 women throughout Betty Boop's career who would lend her voice to Betty Boop as well. Along with Bonnie Poe and Margie Hines. Whoa, what? Uh-oh. Wonder what happened. Well, hopefully he comes back. Oh boy. I wonder if he hit the wrong button or something like that. Let me just go. On there. La 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 la. All right. Well, one of the other things I was going to remind everybody is if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, oh, there he is. What happened?
We're having a storm here. We've been having rain all day. I won't say storming, or I'm not sure whether it's storm but it's raining. Been raining fairly hard a good portion of the day, so I think it was the weather interfering with my net.
Well, hopefully it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee of that. But anyways, yeah. But as I was saying, and of course, for many of their cartoons for Warner Brothers with their Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies was primarily Mel Blanc and June Foray. Even though he also did, but as I've been discovering too, there have been a few others like B. Benaderet also did a number of she actually voiced Granny even before June Foray did. B. Benaderet, who would go on to voice Betty Rubble in the Flintstones, and also was Kate Bradley in Petticoat Junction. So,
Kate Bradley, that was the mother or Uncle Drew's wife.
Yeah, the thing is, she passed away like in '68, and that's when they had to bring in another new character. Birch Tree Publishing. Hello.
Hey, Birch Tree.
Welcome to the stream. And let me just remind people one more time, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, anything we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability.
Hello, Captain Finity. Yeah,
Captain Finity.
That's Captain Finity.
All right. Well, welcome to the chat there, Captain Finity. I hope you'll enjoy what we talk about. I'm just randomly, I was talking somewhat about cartoons here, watching some of the old Fleischer Superman cartoons earlier, Fleischer / famous studios. We're talking a little bit about that. And of course, cartoon and comics kind of go hand in hand because usually one gets adapted in the other. If it's some like Bosco, they started out as comics, or even Popeye, they become cartoons, and then sometimes cartoons get adapted into comics. Is I think what happened
Yeah,
with
depending on how popular one gets or one doesn't get.
right. Mm-hmm. So
They become popular. If a comic becomes popular, it's possible they make it into a cartoon.
mm-hmm.
If a
Yeah.
cartoon becomes popular, it's possible that they will make a comic of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Which is,
anyway,
can be good.
we're just oh yeah. Oh yeah, Rick, you want to? Well, actually, I forgot to mention. Rick, did you want to do a quick intro? Tell people who you are. Maybe share any links, do any promotions. Um, go
Well,
for it if you'd like.
well, most people I think here will know who I am, Rick Piper of Cross Comics, as it says on my little thing with there. Um, and yeah, have comic book. I have my own comic books, and I'm making more. And I have my own YouTube channel, which people can check out. But I think Captain Infinity found here because me posting a link on my community tab. So,
All right. So
which
you
is
liked
always
and you liked and shared the stream already, right, Rick?
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not gonna worry about a link at this point.
Okay.
Somebody new
Well,
comes
I
in.
just I just like to I just like to I just like to make sure I give people a chance to do it, even if
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I know right now everything's kind of on a standstill because of your situation. In fact, you have in fact you were telling me the other night you've got a I guess you may be getting a job here soon, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's very possible that I could have a job next week or so, in the next week or so.
Hmm.
If things are legit with this one thing that's
Right.
where it was, I told you off stream, there's some things that seem legit about it, some things that don't.
Yeah.
Which
So
is
I'm sorry.
which is well, I was just gonna say which is all right. You just figure it out as you go along, although I think I'm gonna tomorrow I'm actually gonna I think put out some more resumes just in case it's not legit,
Mhm.
when I start getting that up. But I should know sometime this week how legit it is.
Well, you were telling me yesterday, don't you have to go to the place tomorrow to like, I guess, take in groceries or something like that?
Possible. Hold on.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, let's see. So this past Friday, Rick, you were on with me this past Friday. We went over comics that went on sale from Quality Comics. We of course read through Smash Comics Volume One, Number 8, and feature comic Volume 1, Issue 30.
Yeah.
Of course, the features we looked at were Black, Espionage with Black X, The Invisible Hood, um, The Clock, who on this channel, of course, we affectionately call Captain Napkin Face, and Doll Man. Rick, would you like to kind of tell the chat? I know we only have probably one person in chat right now, but you'd like to tell the person in chat, what a little bit about what we read?
Yeah. Well, as you said, we read Smash Comics, I forget which number, and
Well,
Feature
I already
Comics
gave all that
Invisible.
information.
Yeah. But in feature it was Black Axe, right?
No,
Which as
and
you said,
Smash Comics had Black X and Invisible Hood. Feature had The Clock and Doll Man.
okay, so well we also read those right at the beginning, that little bit of a funny type one, which was like I think 2 pages, if that, 2, 3 pages,
Yeah.
little short gag type ones, which
Yeah.
was good. It's what you would expect for that type of thing. And again,
Mhm.
um, Black X, espionage. Well, having to do with World War II. He's he's not really a superhero, but a secret agent with a that special name. Most people know his. Well, he has people that know his identity, but they they keep it a little bit secret, of course, being a spy. You don't want everybody knowing who your spies are, but he's one with the love interest, right? The
Yeah,
girl.
Madam Doom there. Well, let me, because I know you probably don't know as much about the background on the Black X character. Their story originally started with him basically faking his own death
Mm,
and still being a spy for the U.S. government. The idea was is that the idea was is that you know he could go underground more and do more espionage work in a very secretive manner. It's one of those
yeah,
things where if he got
Black.
caught, then the U.S. would disavow anything he did, basically.
Yeah, basically, sort of almost a black ops secret agent,
Right. Mm. And
or
yeah,
how we would
we had
describe it today.
his arch nemesis, also his love interest, as it would appear, Madam Doom.
Yeah, and that's basically a Catwoman Batman type thing. Um, and again, he had to go in and rescue a woman that had some vital intel, and that was good, cool. I'm not sure how to describe it. And she, of course, was infatuated by the spy a little bit, as I think you said. What's his name? James Ball. The name's Ball.
Yeah,
James Ball.
kind of had a
The
James
name's
Bond
X.
aspect to it. Yeah.
The name's X. Black X. And of course, this is several years before James Bond, so maybe they got some ideas for James Bond from this, or maybe it was just the trope
Hmm.
of that.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say it was a good story. And then, of course, as you said, the next one was what was it?
The Invisible Hood.
The
In
Invisible Hood, which again, it's a one that we've read before. It's a bit superhero-y, but at the same time, he was fighting some espionage, or maybe not espionage, but uh, some Russian, some um, German agents. I think it was German agents
hmm.
that were trying to steal stuff, you know. So
Yeah,
that
of the four features, I think two, maybe three of them actually had more of the like war aspect, the espionage aspect, or dealing with spies or saboteurs or something to that effect. But
yeah,
yeah, the one that was well, Invisible Hood and Doll Man are the two like superheroes, and then um, Black X is the secret agent, and then the Clock was more of a kind of a mass vigilante type. Um,
yeah, which he would fall into superhero technically, but you know, again, he's more like probably a pulp hero.
mhm, yeah.
Although he calls himself the clock, but he doesn't really have any sort of clock motif about him.
Well, aside from his calling card and utilizing the phrase "the clock strikes,"
Yeah, but I mean, in his getup or whatever, like he calls himself the clock and he says, "The clock strikes again." Okay, so he has a business card with something on, but everything else about him would not say clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which
He's not even a an efficiency expert like Temple Fugit.
yeah,
Do you know who I'm talking about?
the name sounds familiar, but
He was a villain who was actually created for the DCAU.
oh,
He
the clock king, the
No,
clock
no, not the
king.
Clock King. Well, I guess it would be the Clock King. Yeah, that's right. But the Clock King in the DCAU, they took a different spin with it, aside from just having him dress, looking like a dressed up clock, basically, and doing time themed crimes. He was actually an efficiency expert who was in his initial appearance wanted to get revenge on Mayor Hill for making him late.
Yeah, and losing his job and all that. So
Mm-hmm. So, and eventually he would be recruited by the Suicide Squad in the JLU episode, the Justice League Unlimited episode, Task Force X, to retrieve the Festus armor from the Justice League vault.
yeah,
Hmm.
and yeah, so all those stories were good, and they are what they are for the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some were slightly better than others, but they were all, I'd say, fairly decent stories.
Mm-hmm.
Actually there wasn't too many leaps in logic in these ones. I don't think I pointed out many leaps in logic on
Yeah,
Friday.
well, we didn't. We just now. Grant, I was a little run down too, and that's what Normally, I would because we still had a few minutes. I could have gone a little longer. Could have maybe read a couple of the humor stories, but I was just running a
Yeah.
little low energy. So
But I just more mean normally with those stories, I find these little bit of plot holes, like
right.
something that doesn't quite make sense, in my opinion, usually in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really find the too many, I think, so that I think that's a good thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't blaringly obvious, or at least for some reason I wasn't on top of it if they were,
Mm-hmm.
which I can't remember whether they were or not. So yeah,
Yeah.
the
Well, no, we really didn't pick up on any. We didn't really pick up on any
plot holes,
plot holes or
glaring.
anything like that. It was, it wasn't a whole lot of leaps in logic as I usually put it. A lot of stuff was more straightforward, as it were. Uh, just checking something here.
So any articles to read over
Well,
tonight?
we
Anything
could
else?
just. I just wanted to trying to check something here.
Okay.
Trying to trying to check something here real quick before. I guess because I could go look up, see if there's anything interesting on Bounding into Comics or Bleeding Fool that we might want to go over and talk about. I think now, especially since I have you guys coming in, right.
Yeah. Well,
So
the
I have
thing
you guys
is, maybe
coming
we
in
could.
during the week. We'll probably be doing newer articles during the show here instead of like going back over the older articles because that's what I
Yeah.
was.
Which makes sense. Or, with some of the articles maybe that you had possibly planned to get to that, you weren't able to get to, you know,
Mhm.
during the week.
All right, so let's see now. He's in the Class A team. Yeah, the last couple of days here, I've had Ed Sheeran's songs stuck in my head. um, A Team and Thinking Out Loud. So let me see. Yeah, I wanted to.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right. Let's see. So,
Dun, 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 dun.
all right. So let's see now. Let me go down here and. Hmm. Like, I don't usually do the. Oh yeah, here's something I've kind of been seeing here. This might
The Young
also be
Justice one. Yeah.
well. There's more celebrity. Normally, I don't cover celebrity stuff, but this is kind of also because Danica McKellar, she's aside from of course her work on Wonder Years with like Fred Savage and Paul Sorvino and Jason Hervey, she's also done voices. Well, at least a couple of notable voices in some DC stuff. She was Frida Gordon in Static Shock, and then of course in
Okay.
the Justice League cartoons here of the last 10 years, or Young Justice rather, not Justice League, Young Justice. She was Miss Martian in there, but and I
Oh,
think
okay.
yeah, and I think you'll like this article because uh,
Yeah,
uh,
you've seen the
but
title,
then
so
again,
it's
I
like me.
always thought I always thought I kind of thought she'd been this way to begin with. But anyways, Young Justice star Danica McKellar becomes a Bible believing Christian after leaving California. Quote, it just hit me, everything hit me. Actually, I thought she was a Christian already. I thought she was already.
Well, she might have been what some people might refer to as a nominal Christian. She went to church and all that. She sort of believed it, but now she's a Bible believing Christian, a little
So
bit
she's
more
like full
believing.
on. Like I'd probably be considered a nominal Christian then. But anyway, um, article by Jacob Smith published back on February 22nd, 2024, which was this past Thursday. So there's a picture of course, Miss Martian there from that's Danica. That's the character. Um, gives a playful chase to Beast Boy Logan Grove, Young Justice season 2, episode 2, Earthlings. So from her days on the hit TV show The Wonder Years to her work on the Hallmark Channel to her four-season outing as the voice of Miss Martian in Young Justice. Now, granted, those 4 seasons did not necessarily happen like back to back per se. Like season
Yeah,
one was in 2010, season two was in 2012, and then there was like a 7 year gap between seasons 2 and 3, where season 3 was in 2019 and 2021 was when they had season 4. So,
yeah.
and
And
quite
hello,
honestly, I'll
JR.
tell you, and I don't know if you've seen the cartoon, if you've seen the cartoons or
Yeah,
not.
yeah. I've seen at least three. I think I've seen all 4 seasons.
Yeah, personally, I like the first 2 seasons over the last two. Season 3 was
Yeah,
okay, but season 4 you could really tell it was a sign of the times, as it were, if you get what I mean.
yeah. And hello, JR. JR's in the chat.
Hey Jr. Well, he was telling me the other day he really goes by Elk now, but
Uh,
you know him as Jr. Hail Lord Xenu and hail Princess Xena, only our only true saviors. Hail Mike and Rick. Hey, and as always, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd
I
be
guess I
appreciated.
could start trying to call him Elk or Antioch.
Yeah. Also, if anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, continuing on with the actress Danica McKellar has been a known figure in Hollywood for quite some time. I mean, you think about that. Okay, so the Wonder Years, that was back in the late, I think it was like 80, 88.
Mid 80s,
Yeah, no,
early
late
to mid
80s.
80s,
Late 80s. It
late
was
80s.
like it was 80. I believe it was 88 when that thing debuted. It lasted, I think, for 4 or 5 years, like 88 to 93. It was basically during my years in high school. But Danica
Yeah,
McKellar has been a known figure in Hollywood for quite some time. There she is there as Allie. Um,
Alice.
no, Allie.
Oh, Ali. Oh, okay, yeah, that is Ali. Sorry,
Can't
my bad.
can't can't help but crack a smile in Crown for Christmas, which was a 2015 Hallmark movie. A few years ago, McKellar was one of the many actresses who jumped ship from the Hallmark Channel to Great American Family after George Zerolidis, the vice president of the network programming for the former parent company, Crown Media Family Networks, made, in smaller quotes, diversity and inclusion a top priority for the network. Yeah, I read a similar article this last year where they were talking about them, where some people were coming out about that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Well,
I think
two
the
other
great.
well-known actresses, like I think Candace Cameron Bure was another one who jumped
Yeah,
ship.
well, I think Candace Cameron is the one that founded the Great American Family one.
Hmm,
I could be wrong.
yeah. Um, yeah. So Crown made a top priority for the network and began shifting their programming to please the LGBTQ lobby. With little reason left to remain in the state of California, arguably the most progressive left-wing state in the nation, after leaving Hallmark, McKellar and her family subsequently decided to pack up and move them all to rural Tennessee. And let me tell you something, if I could, I'd probably be moving somewhere to the southeast as well, if I could. Um,
It's a little
right.
there.
Recounting, oh, what was that?
Oh, and I was just thinking that this spot that you went up to, that it was there. I was just gonna tell you to go up in that.
Well, no, the only reason I went down was so I could like close out that because you see the thing right under the paragraph there.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to like kind of close that out in a quote unquote. But anyways, recounting her journeys both out of California and into her Christian faith to GAC, McKellar began her story by recalling how, quote, my husband and I have been wanting more nature for a long time. We were kind of ready to not be in a city anymore. Yeah, I think I did read something like this about her before as well. That was one of the other things too. Then, after spending some time in her new Tennessee home, the actress says she then began reading the entire Bible, both Old and New Testaments, and in doing so, found that studying the Word of God brought great comfort to her life. Quote, it just hit me, everything hit me, unquote, said of the moment when she came to truly know the text she was reading. Quote, the Holy Spirit came to me. It was like a wave of love and understanding hit me, unquote. McKellar then admits that thanks to being in the state of California and working in the entertainment industry, she originally knew very little about biblical Christianity. Being in the Hollywood bubble, the only exposure she had to Christianity and Jesus Christ came from a very secular and often anti gospel worldview. I'd always been so biased against Christianity for very okay. Well, I thought she actually was somewhat of a Christian just before she moved to Tennessee, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it depends on what she means biased against. You know, you could grow up in the church or whatever and still end up having sort of a bias against it for whatever reason, you know.
Mostly because of the bad reputation it's gotten with causing wars, and you think in small quotes, oh, Christians are these really judgmental people, and all this religious stuff, unquote, she told Great American Country. Quote, the truth is Jesus was anti-religion. He was anti-religion, and I didn't even realize that.
Well, I don't think he was anti-religion. He was, as the Book of James would call it, true religion. Because I think it's the Book of James. It says true religion is taking care of orphans and widows and blah blah blah. So I think he was more that. And he was, yes, the religious part has its point, but you don't put that above God.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. So, anyways, as we continue on here, um, and according to McKellar, it was when her fellow GAC now Great American. I don't know if Candace Cameron Bure actually created Great American Family, but she did because Great American Family, I think, is an extension of Great American Country. I
Okay.
think they're part of the same. I think Great American Family is like kind of an extension of Great American Country, which is a cable channel here in the States. Star
Well,
Candace. Oh, go
we
ahead.
could look it up after we're done the article. We could probably possibly look it up if we want it to find
Yeah.
out.
Candace Cameron Bure gave her a Bible that she first felt consumed by the Holy Spirit. Now, of course, Candace Cameron Bure and her brother Kirk Cameron were longtime born again Christians.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kirk Cameron came to know Christ, became a Christian while he was on Growing Pains. It's not before, and of course, I think his sister came shortly after he came.
Mm-hmm.
Family, which
Well,
she
I
was
don't know if
part
you
of.
were with me when I covered this particular article, but there was an article I covered this past week where they were talking about the
Yeah,
Scholastic,
I think I was with you, and they mentioned Kirk Cameron and that about him starting up.
and that he was kind of starting up an alternative Scholastic. That was
Yeah,
more what we call family friendly type books that weren't pushing agendas. So, quote, for me, reading the Bible, I felt so comforted, unquote. She admitted, quote, and oddly so, even during the chapters like getting through Job, you know, and the poor guy, he's suffering, and his friends are like, and smaller quote, yeah, well, it's probably your fault. It's something you did, you know, albeit they weren't thinking, oh, could this maybe be God testing Job? That was a possibility too.
yeah.
um,
Well, I don't think anybody had really been tested, and I wouldn't say it was being tested by God. Tested, sort of, but also more by Satan. Depends on how you want to view that.
yeah. And it goes on and on and on. There's still something comforting about it, unquote. Um, quote, it's got to be that it's God, unquote, the actress added. Quote, God's just in there again and again. We see that God rewards faithfulness and God is good. And even through the hard stories, you can see the tough love in there, like a parent with his children, unquote. Further, McKellar says that in addition to the comfort she feels when reading the Bible, she's also excited with her ongoing discovery that many of the stories are deeply ingrained in our culture. Well, I mean, we know that, right, Rick? Because don't I refer to a few of the stories quite often,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like the other day, I kind of referenced Potiphar's wife, right, from Joseph, story of Joseph. You know,
Elk says, Job, what about Genesis where he drowns millions? Well, yeah, probably millions. The whole world except for 8 people, and Lot gets drunk and impregnates his daughters. Well, he wasn't a willing participant. Lot, his daughters got him drunk and then took advantage of him. So I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
that
blame
was more of a question of their lack of faith in Job than Lot's rather, because the reason they got him drunk and got him to impregnate them was because they thought that after Sodom and Gomorrah had been destroyed, that they were never going to be able to procreate. They were never going to be able to have children. So they just figured,
well,
well, our father's the only man we got to do it with, so let's just do it with him.
no, it was more they were rightfully so. They were more concerned with him not having any male heirs, and that they were just, he just had these women, so that they wanted to produce sons for him because his wife's now dead. Pillar of salt. Never thought he could get another wife and get busy with her and have some male sons.
Mhm.
Or maybe he did have male sons and they died in the Sodom and Gomorrah, and because we're only told about the two, maybe he did have more kids. We don't know.
Mhm. All right. So can you, and
And,
there, there.
and, and I must say, the reason that those ones that were drowned,
Mhm. Go ahead,
the
Rick.
daughters were tad gross examples of Christians, but they wouldn't have been Christians, those daughters, because Christianity didn't even exist.
Mhm.
We can't even say that those daughters would have believed necessarily in God. They were saved because they were in Lot's household. We're not even sure whether they were righteous, as Abraham would have put it.
Mhm.
But
And there's Candace Cameron Bure in the picture there.
yeah, but as for the millions that he drowned, well, they weren't acting right. So, God has a right to judge in His creation. I would say.
Yeah. And I get why you were answering elk there with that. Well, you have to remember too, this is Old Testament we're talking about, so there were no Christians at that point because Christ hadn't even been born yet at that point.
Yeah,
So, they were Jewish people. They were Jews. You know.
they weren't even Jews because
Well, yeah, that's right. Because even that wasn't but they were still God's people. Is what they were.
Oh, I'm not. Well, as for the daughters, I'm not even sure. God comes to Abraham, says he's going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. His nephew Lot is there with his family, so he's like, I'd like my nephew saved. Of course, he tries to get the city spared first, but then he realizes, there's not even 10 righteous people in those cities. So it's like, can you save my nephew and his family? And well, the only four that were willing to go were, Lot, his wife, his two daughters. I don't know whether he had any other family there. Doesn't say one way or another. There's been speculation that he could have or not. I don't know. I won't say one way or another.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, let's get back to the article here.
Oh, and JR says, true, God sent angels to them, but not necessarily Jews. Yeah. Yeah, because, well, the Jews don't come till, like after Egypt, technically.
Well, one of the big problems, one of the things that did lead, that did eventually lead to God's final judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah was when the angels did come to visit Lot and tell him, "Hey, look, you got to get out of here. God's going to destroy it." The angels wanted, or the people of
Okay.
Sodom and Gomorrah wanted them to send the angels out so they
To get
could.
busy with it, just so they could get busy. Well, the towns were already going to be destroyed at that point. But, anyways, on with the article.
Mhm. Yeah. So, anyways, McKellar, along with Beret, have become a staple on Great American Family as the network continues to grow and revive the concept of family centered entertainment amidst a world where Hollywood is infecting the industry with progressive messaging that stand opposed to the values of Jesus Christ. Um, in an industry that continues to promote occultism, LGBTQ, Satanism, and racial division, McKellar is one of the few actors still willing to share a Bible-believing Christian worldview in the face of such intense opposition. Now, of course, McKellar is the latest person we've heard. Um, Danica McKellar, Candace Cameron Bure, Kirk Cameron,
Yeah,
even
Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo is another one, and he's come out with he's actually come out with some Christian movies in the past couple of years.
Yeah, Dean Cain.
Dean Cain's another one, yeah.
Yeah, there's several Christian actors out there. Some have been
Willie Ames
ostracized.
is another one. You know, you remember Willie Ames from Eight Is Enough and Charles in Charge
Yeah.
and Bible Man.
Yeah.
So,
Buddy from Charles in Charge.
yeah. To this end, the actress says that she's extremely grateful for the truth she has learned from Scripture, and is excited to see just where the journey in Christ takes her. Quote, in a nutshell, I've always believed in God of some sort, but then I found my relationship with Jesus Christ in a very profound way about a year and a half ago. All right, so she kind of was she's probably like what you said earlier. She's probably a nominal Christian at first, and then eventually just really came to be more of a full-on Bible-believing Christian.
Yeah.
She's quote, and it's been an amazing journey becoming a believer, unquote. Danica McKellar testimony is a shining example in the simplicity in the gospel of Christ found in John 6:40. Quote, for my Father's will is that everyone who looks to the Son and believes in him shall have eternal life, and I will raise them up at the last day, unquote. McKellar can be seen on Great American Family in the films Swing Into Romance and A Date for Christmas.
A royal date.
A royal date for Christmas. All right, so there we go with that one. And actually, let's take a look real quick. Maybe I'll go see if I can find, you know.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting.
Um,
Although we got into other stuff because
right. Hold on a second. I need to look outside real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So how are you, Elk? How's your weekend going? And how are you doing, Captain Finity? Or Birch Tree Publishing? How goes your weekends? Although
Thought I heard a knock at the door, so that's why I was trying to check real quick. But my nephew's outside, so anyway, let me.
Good. Just had a friend over for our regular sci-fi fantasy Sunday. Oh, cool. Were you like watching?
RJ. Hey, RJ. Glad you could make it.
Where are things at?
Well, we just went over. I initially talked about. Oops. I hate it when the thing is sensitive like that, man. Sorry about that, RJ. So we started out the show talking a little bit about because I was watching some of the Fleischer cartoons earlier, and I was just talking about the one episode, the Magnetic Telescope, and then since we couldn't find much else to talk about, I started going over seeing what articles we could find on Bounding in the Commons. We just finished reading a story about how Danica McKellar of Wonder Years fame and Justice League and a number of other things.
You mean Young Justice?
Young Justice, yeah, Young Justice. How she had moved out of California, out of Hollywood in California, moved to Tennessee, and also become part of
the Great American Family channel.
In fact, I was just looking up some information on Great American Family right now because we're trying to see. We're debating on whether or not Candace Cameron Bure had helped found it. So,
and then it wouldn't surprise me.
Huh?
It wouldn't surprise me if she had. That'd be right up her alley because Danica's doing all the Hallmark Christmas movies, just like Candace is.
Well, she left Hallmark.
She left Hallmark. She left Hallmark with
Candace.
With Candace. Among
a number of people. When Hallmark decided to become a little bit more, shall we say, inclusive in their storylines.
Right. Yeah. In fact, that was one of the things they were talking about in the
article because Danica
we just read.
Danica had become a Christian shortly after leaving California. A Bible-believing Christian, anyways. She might have been a nominal Christian beforehand.
I think it's probably illegal in California anyway.
Well, you would think so, but no, that it doesn't go that far. But
yeah.
Not yet. We're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I spent way too much money this weekend.
Yeah. I've been trying to call you earlier because I was hoping to really get you on, but it doesn't say here if Candace Cameron Bure. I think let me see. It was Bill Abbott because I do remember reading an article last year about Great American. Now I do know that Great American Family is an extension of Great American Country. And they even say that here. Let's see. Among the actors and actresses who went from Hallmark to there include Trevor Donovan, Jen Lilly, Jessica Lowndes,
Jessica
Metcalf, and Danica McKellar, along with Candace Cameron Bure. Former Homer Family host Debbie Madanopoulos and Cameron Matheson hosted a preview special for Jesse Inaugural Great American Film. Let's see. On April 19th, 2022, it was announced that Great American GAC Media had hired Candace Cameron Bure, who had a long-standing relationship with the Hallmark Channel dating back to 2008, as a chief content officer. So she didn't help her. She didn't help them find, but she was hired on as a chief content officer. So
okay, maybe it's because of that I heard about her announcing that they would not be doing the inclusivity, as RJ put it.
All right. And let's see, it's and this is Captain Infinity under his Birch Tree Publishing. You indirectly inspired me to hire Howard Chaykin for my alt cover. Well, I think that was directed at you, RJ.
And that's cool.
And then RJ, you want to share this with everyone? You want to read this for everybody, RJ?
Oh, we can't hear you, RJ.
That's because to go to the YouTube channel to make this comment, I muted my mic so you wouldn't get a feedback loop, and then I forgot to turn it back on. So thank you for telling me. Yeah, Cap Infinity, that's an excellent hire. I want to buy that book when it comes out. So definitely hit me up. I want to see that Howard Chaykin cover. We are publishing. We've always been publishing, but it's been like, we published a book a year. We just released 6 books last Friday, or last Tuesday rather. And we are if you follow the link and go to the bottom of the page, you'll see all the books that we have released that are currently in our catalog. We've really ramped things up. We just published Tim Olson's Melvin #1 as a hardcover. And by publishing it, like we're talking about, not for crowdfunding, but it's in Walmart, it's in Barnes and Noble, it's
and Amazon.
Yeah, it's wherever books are sold because it goes through our catalog system. So any brick and mortar comic book store in the world can order this book based on the ISBN number that we've assigned it.
Cool.
And that's true for all of our books. We are currently putting together and packaging. If you saw the campaign that launched yesterday for Perfect 10, the artist edition, we're publishing that book. So that's, we're doing the printing for the artist edition for him. And we're going to do a different version that's not an artist edition that will get mass market release just like Tim's Melvin did. So we're doing that for a lot of different creators. We're saying, hey, you've crowdfunded. What are you doing with it now? Well, usually nothing because the crowdfund's over. What are we going to do? Let's publish it. Let's put it out in the mass market. Let everybody buy it all the time.
Yeah.
Let me just get caught up on some of these chats real quick, and then we'll get back to the discussion. Watch 2 hours of Vikings and 2 hours of Battlestar Galactica. Okay. RJ, you want to read this one because this one's directed at you?
If you've missed our streams, tune in this week. We have we're going to be getting busy. We got Michael Tierney on tomorrow. We got Tony James with Star Noir coming back on Tuesday, and on Thursday we will have Bill Mouse. So it's pretty much a full week. I've gotten to the point where, I got demonetized, and I'm like, why do I care if I'm demonetized? Why am I killing myself for these hours? It used to be that I would sit there and it's like, oh, I don't have a show tonight, and I would freak out and I would just start hitting everybody. Who wants to come on tonight? I realized that YouTube wasn't making me any money. Now, I will still stream for anybody who wants to promote their stuff. If you say, hey, can I come on your show? We'll set a time. We'll get you out there. But I'm not pushing myself out there in front of everybody now. If I get busy with streams, we'll get busy with streams. If I don't, guess what? That's more time that I can package books. That's more time that I can work on edits for the books we're publishing. Those are the 2 things that are actually moneymakers for us. So we do those things.
And RJ, I don't know.
Want to talk.
Go ahead, Rick.
I was just going to say you might want to talk to Chris and Diana, see whether you might be able to get them on. They've got, as you know, a new book out, #7 of Critical Cyclopean.
We've had them on. We've already covered that one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, and I backed it.
That was what a few. Wasn't that what 2 or 3 weeks ago, RJ, or a month ago, or something like that?
Yeah, it was like as soon as it came out.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
I'm talking to them all the time, but it was probably around the time that I was moving where I am now. I'm in BC now.
Oh, yeah. British Columbia. Yeah. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back in a second.
All right.
Sorry, what were you saying, Mike? Or you gotta wait
I was going. I was going to get to possibly get started and talk a little bit more about what he was just talking about how they're publishing now and stuff like that. But so we're basically, I was just getting caught up with the chat here, make sure. And of course, just as a reminder to everybody, once again, if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability, or we will. I think I was going to, and I think I did talk to him about it, what I was telling, how I'm going to start utilizing co-host during the week as well. But obviously, I won't be using him because I have you on Wednesday, and the other 3 days he's got stuff going on. So, but
Well, you can ask him. First thing he can say is maybe, right?
yeah.
Or no.
But, well, I'll try. Usually, if I have people on, I'll try to do it on nights that they don't have a because I know, like, that's why I wouldn't ask you on Tuesday because I know you have your chill stream, like usually it's right after I do mine, of course. I don't know
Okay,
if
that's for RJ when he comes back.
okay. But anyways, yeah. So as we wait, oh, there he is. Hey, RJ.
Hey there.
Okay,
Sorry, I
one,
had
one thing, and I think I might have mentioned this to you already. This past week, what I decided to start doing in the hopes of trying to maybe get more viewers. I'm gonna have a co-host on with me during my newscast as well to kind of go over articles and comment on, um, and so I may be calling on you for that as well. But I won't this because you just said, okay, so I have Rick scheduled on Wednesday, and then the other 3 days you're already doing something. So,
yep.
I might be.
And I'm
I
going
might
to pretty
be
much
calling
stay
on
that
you
way.
in the near
Yeah.
future. So just heads
Uh,
up there. But anyways, there's a
oh,
couple of comments here. RJ, you might want to read both of them here because one is yours and the other one is something that you were being asked. So you want to read that?
yeah, I mean, it's I ship them to Canada. I have a discounted rate, so we go straight to Canada individuals. We don't do a bulk shipment to Canada. That's although that's what we do here in the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., you bulk ship in. Um, it's it's still expensive, but the thing is that Canada. Here's a geography lesson for people. There's no such thing as the country of Canada. Canada's not a country. Canada is a dominion. And every one of those little places inside of it, all those provinces, they're like little countries of their own. So if you ship from province to province, it's as expensive as an international shipment. Within,
No.
yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I,
How
I'm
do
done
how?
shipping. I'm done shipping inside of Canada. I live here.
I
It
know.
costs. I could cut for me when I was in Ontario. I haven't shipped from BC anywhere, but when I was in, like the when I was back in Hamilton, if I shipped to BC or I shipped to, uh, you know, um, New Brunswick, it was the same. Well, depending on the weight and all that, it was the same amount. If
I
you go,
I have
if
tried
you,
it, and I was shipping to Ontario, and then it was going out to other places, and it was more expensive to ship to Ontario and then to ship out than it was to ship directly to the people in the different provinces.
oh,
But
Hmm.
I can ship to Canada. I can ship
yeah,
a
I had a,
package
well,
less than a pound for about $16.85. If
Yeah.
it's but under 2 pounds, it's about $20 and change.
All right. So I guess that answered JR's question here. He said you ship them individually at $25 a pop.
Yeah, at 25 bucks a
okay.
pop, you're basically looking at somewhere between a 2 to 3 pound package, which is pretty big. And yes, I do repackage them, and that cost is included in the numbers I just quoted there. Those numbers I quoted you include the Gemini, includes the labor, so that's me getting paid. It includes the bag and board, the tape, the labels, the whole shebang. That cost is all inclusive. So yeah, if you want to bulk ship to me, let me know. We'll set up a talk, and we'll get the weights of your tiers and everything. I'll tell you exactly what you should charge for your shipping so that you don't go out of pocket. Your shipping should always be paid for by your customers. People always ask me, what's it cost to ship with you? I'm like, nothing. It costs you nothing. It costs you $0 to ship with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's how much do you have to charge your customers at that point? That's why.
Exactly. Right. Charge your customers. And you know what? It's still a standard shipping charge.
Right.
I mean, most of the time for a comic book, we're still saying, hey, look, it's going to be less than $10 overall for a package. So, since it's close, just charge $10 and, you'll make 12 cents. on the deal, but no one's going to care because they'd rather pay $10 shipping than $9.78.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then Wayne saying good day to everybody. Hello, Wayne. Welcome to the stream. And then JR was asking if you package them, I could transship them from bulk to individual shipping if you're at all interested.
That's exactly what we do. So yeah, I get bulk shipments all the time. I just got bulk shipment from the Netherlands, and we shipped it all out. That was perfect 10, number 4. Exactly what we did.
But I think what JR is saying, or Elk is saying, is if you bulk them to him, he could put them out individually. Send them out individually.
We could try that. I mean, that's what I tried before, but it came out to be more expensive, especially since I've got the discounted rates here with my shipper.
Shipping to, and according to Wayne, shipping to Canada sucks.
Yeah.
Now, RJ, I got a question here. You said that when you tried that, it ended up being more expensive. Did that have anything to do with the fact that maybe because you're shipping from America to Canada or anything like that, or
if I bulk ship things to Canada, I have to include that at a per unit price. So if I spend $50 shipping 20 books, I have to say, okay, 20 divided by 50, it's already $1.50 per book now, or $2.50 per book that I have to add on, and then that gets added on to whatever the cost is in Canada to forward it along. So when I did that, it was a few dollars more expensive to ship that way, and I try to keep it as close to the bone as I can for customers.
Yeah, and I definitely get that. I know I try and keep it as close as I can to, stuff like that. Like, well, I forget what my thing is, but if I'm put in a bubble a bubble mailer, and I ship to like anywhere in Canada, one comic usually costs about $5 Canadian.
Just the postage?
Yeah. Well, even if you include the mailer, the postage, yeah. So with the mailer, it's probably, closer to $6 or 5.5, depending on whether you get bulk, your mailers in bulk or not.
All right, RJ, you might want to read this because I think this is.
I'm reading it to myself here, and I'm trying to figure out. So Canada Post has flat rates. Yeah, they should have had flat rates. Maybe they've changed. I mean, shipping changes like every couple of months. So I'll take a look at it. I got Canada Post bookmarked. Shipping to the Arctic is extra. Yeah, nobody wants to go there. All those letters to Santa, one stamp's not going to do it, kids.
Sending a copy of my signed hand cover there was very costly for
hardcover.
Yeah. Well, you got to stop every 20 miles and feed the Huskies.
And then shipping to Arctic is extra. Yeah. So, of course, now we may have already gotten into the discussion anyways, but one of the reasons why I really wanted to have RJ on, because when when I called you the other day and we were talking about this, you were talking about how now you're kind of becoming both a publisher and a distributor.
Yes.
And I thought, maybe that sounds like something that might be a good conversation to have, and one of those things that maybe people should be kind of made aware of, or just FYI kind of situation. If you want, I don't know if we've already started talking about that a little bit here with the whole shipping stuff and all of that, but what
I think it'd be impossible. Elk.
The penguins eat a lot of shipments to the Arctic.
Yeah, they attack the dogs.
I think it would be the polar bears. I was going to say, I think it would be the polar bears, not the penguins. Penguins are only Antarctic.
I doubt Chili Willy is waddling along there trying to
Yeah.
get to the dog.
I'm sitting here thinking of the old internet meme from 2000. Penguins and polar bears don't even live on the same continent.
It's kind of you know what's funny about that art, because I've been watching a lot of like golden age cartoons, basically, or a lot of like older cartoons,
Yep.
right, on MeTV and all that. And that's one of the. I actually read that note on IMDb when I was watching a Chili Willy cartoon. I think they mentioned that polar bears and penguins don't even live on the same continent. Basically, one lives at the North Pole and the other at the South Pole. So,
That's right.
So RJ, you started out as a distributor, but then you've also started doing publishing. So, did you want to?
Yeah, well, technically, I was
how your
publishing before I
journey
was a
went from
distributor.
being a distributor to a publisher and all that? You want to?
Yeah, I was actually publishing before I was a distributor, but it's just mildly. We'd done a novel. We had done Bulletproof by Stephen J. Mitchell, and then we did the Devil You Know, which was the anthology. We were kind of just taking it slow, doing one a year. Actually, before that, we had done our first anthology, which was Gods and Services, a much smaller book. And I think yes, I actually have these books in hand. I can show you. This was
All right. Well,
uh,
let me enlarge your screen here.
let me take my editing down here. So yeah, we had done Gods and Services, which is also available on Amazon. It's in our catalog that I linked earlier. And then we did The Devil You Know and The Devil You Know Better, which was the second volume. So then we try to keep them all the same height and size and thickness. This was our first one, so it was a thinner volume. We didn't have as much money to put into it, so we only got 10 stories. The Devil You Know and The Devil You Know Better both have 20 stories in them. And I'm like literally right on my other screen. I'm applying final edits to The Devil You Know Best, which is the final volume. It has 25 stories in it. It's going to be a much thicker volume than the previous two. And simultaneous to all of that, Wayne Klingman in the chat is providing us with true crime novels. We're publishing Wayne's true crime mafia reports. So Mr. Big has an imprint with Critical Blast Publishing. We're keeping those going. He's selling pretty well. If you're
Cool.
interested in what's going on in Buffalo, New York, or in Las Vegas, or in the Milwaukee mob, stay tuned because we're covering all of those things.
Yeah.
And we're reading for the next anthology, which is the Fables Next Door, the sort of a spin-off follow-up to the Monsters Next Door we did. And I will go ahead and report right now that we have two stories in the submissions that sometimes you get a story you're like, I don't even have to edit this. It's going in. I'm going to check it for spell check, but it's going in because we have a story from Bill Willingham that's going to be in the anthology. And we have a story from Alan Dean Foster that's going to go in there as well. So
I've seen your trailer for, I guess, I think it's The Devil's Know Best. You have a pretty cool song on there. With
I love this songwriting thing that comes with it. So it's that's sort of a fun hobby part.
That's a catchy tune. I get like my mind starts going too, and then
we have a much briefer one for the Fables Next Door that I played on a couple of the other streams.
Yeah. So
we had penguins steal the polar bears. Yeah, it wasn't much of a fight, and they're flightless birds. They couldn't get away.
And of course, a friendly reminder to everybody: if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to ask and or comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability.
Elk, I think it might be the other way around though, because penguins are in Australia as well as Antarctica, and like any Australian animal, that means they have to be deadly. So it's very possible that it was the other way around, and Antarctica had polar bears until the penguins got them.
But
so.
with you getting I guess all the books that come through you, or like Tim's book, are going into like Barnes and Noble and all that.
Absolutely, it's a global distribution network. They get placed into the catalog. Every book, every brick and mortar store. So you Joe's Books on the corner. If you've got a store that buys books for the town, you can go in and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, can you get my book?" They'll say, "Is it in the catalog?" You'll say, "Well, here's the ISBN number." They're like, "Okay, we'll have it in about 2 weeks. Come get it."
Well, I mean, you have some people we know directly here that you're distributing for. You have some pretty big. You have some bigger names that you're distributing for. I know you have as you said earlier, you're of course distributing.
Right.
Tim's
Well,
book.
Yeah.
yeah. When we distribute,
And
we're distributing stuff that's crowdfunded. So it's not in a distribution network. We've made a one-off book. We're the printer, and we have the inventory, and it comes straight to us. Now I need somebody to mail it out to all the people who bought it. That's what we do. But
Well, yeah,
after that,
I know
when we publish,
you've also distributed books for like Mike Barron, that Umbrella guy. I don't know.
we've assisted with
You
Mike Barron's.
distributed some of Chris's books too, right? Tomolovich's books.
No.
no, they
We
haven't
haven't
done
distributed
them
any
yet.
Chris's books.
Oh,
Not yet, anyways.
Yeah. Ready to. I'm ready for Chris to explode on the scene and just have too many books to ship out. And then he can say, "Hey, RJ, help me out." And I'll be like, "Yes."
Yeah, well,
I am looking forward to being on
I
your
would-
shows in Barnes and Noble
Shelves.
on the Shubs.
I think you mean shelves.
Yeah, in Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like I might end up. I gotta get. I recently lost almost a lot of files, so I might have, I might not. I gotta take the hard drive in when I get some money. If I can get them all back, I'm actually thinking maybe getting you to do what you did for Tim for getting in the Barnes and Noble, the Walmart. Oh, there's the only thing is, it's not in Walmart Canada, Melvin. I'm not sure whether you guys can do anything about it getting into Walmart Canada or not.
I didn't know there was a Walmart Canada site. I just know there's Walmart.com.
Yeah,
See, Walmart.ca. Is that a thing?
yeah. I think for every country they have the Walmart is dot whatever their country letters are. Like us, it's .ca.
Okay.
Like
So,
for Walmart Australia, it would probably be .au.
So then Elk JR here is saying, I'm across the road from Canada Post. I also have 4 days a week off. I'd be interested in being your concierge postal clerk if it would make American indie books cheaper in Canada. Let's see. And
Yeah.
then Wayne
We
saying,
find out what the flat rates are by weight, and we'll see what we can do.
not spelling well, sorry. That's okay. I bailed on physical CG books because of high shipping and late books. You distributed George's books too, right, RJ?
I have distributed some of George's books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all of them yet. They're still working on because a lot of them are working on the original art. He got crazy and said, "I'm going to draw a sketch in all your books." Well, that takes time.
Yeah.
But
And
he's
then
done
JR
like
saying here
600 of
Walmart,
them.
Walmart.ca, which I guess means Canada. So,
Yep.
yeah. So,
Yeah. So, but there's something for you to know if you. I'm not sure whether you can get them in the other countries or not. Or with going through Walmart. I'm not sure how that works.
I don't know. Well, I mean, once it's in Walmart, it's up to Walmart to put it everywhere else. So if it's on the .com, maybe it just takes some time to migrate through the
Not
systems.
everything that you can get in on the American site you can get on the Canadian site. I know, and all the other countries or whatever. So
as long as you can go to the .com, I guess you can always order from there and see what they'll do. Walmart.au can't even be reached, so that might not be a real site.
Well, I was thinking it might have been the .au for Australia. Maybe
It's
type in
definitely on
Walmart.
all the. Yeah, and it's definitely on all the Amazons. I've already checked that. So it's it's
Oh,
on
okay.
Walmart.
So
It's on Amazon.ca. I think it was on Amazon. It was on Amazon.co.uk before it was on the .com. The British people pick it up quickly. Yeah, it's a different inventory, and
yeah.
I don't
So
know. I live down the road from Walmart corporate. I can go knock on their door, I guess, and say, "Hey, update your website."
well, you could ask, how do I get stuff in the Walmart of other countries for their websites? I've got it in the one. How do I get it going to, like,
Yeah,
say, Canada? Because
So,
there's probably a different way to do it. I would guess, anyways. I could be wrong in that.
so RJ, did you start out? Did you start out as a publisher or did you start out as a distributor? Just so I understand.
started out as a publisher, just not very aggressive at it, I guess.
Just a book here and there, more or less. Then you became
Yeah.
a distributor, and now you're a major distributor and publisher.
Yes, I'm
Well,
I'm a few books
oh,
away from getting in process of finding out about having a diamond account.
And
oh,
what is a diamond account for those of us who don't know?
Well, a diamond account would make it so that our books would be listed in the diamond catalog.
Okay.
oh, that's cool. Because
So that
I was suggesting to Tim just the other day that he might want to look into that because after you have like 3 books, you can will look at you nowadays.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like I said, most bookstores do have an Ingram catalog because that's where they get their stuff. Comic book stores may or may not. It depends on what they carry. They carry, obviously, they'll have a Penguin account now because all the Marvel stuff comes through there. Marvel's using the same printer I am, but they're being distributed through Penguin, so Penguin keeps track of the distribution numbers. They don't distribute for the stuff that's in Ingram. I found that out. I've confirmed it. So I'm disappointed in that. But there's nothing I can do there. I've got to, yeah,
Now I
gotta
know
figure out how
I
to
know you were
bridge that
I
gap.
know you were I know earlier you were talking about the Devil May Know anthologies and stuff like that. There is another anthology that I'm kind of curious about if there's any news on. It's the anthology I guess you're doing with Luke Stone, where I guess you were contributing a clock story to.
Yeah, that's
Any
it's
news
out of
on
my
that
hands.
or?
I've heard very little on that. I mean, there's some people waiting for a letterer. I don't know who it is, uh, but Luke is getting all the coloring finished up. I think Luke's going to have to step in and probably do the lettering. Yeah, that's a book that I've it's so late that I've forgotten about it, and I'm in it. So
I guess I'm the only one who's here to remind you that you're in it, right?
yeah, I mean, there's a DM group devoted specifically to it, and every once in a while a message comes into it, and it pops up to the list of things that I've got to take care of. I'm like, oh look, I forgot about you guys. Uh,
Well,
yeah, that's
it's
right.
one
Where'd
of
that
those
book?
things. We were just we read the clock the other night as part of um, as part of the historical comic retrospect. Of course, I have you coming up on March 8th, and then Rick is the 29th, I believe. Um, so that's what we had agreed on there. So, and of course, when I have you back for the historical comic retrospect in a little under a couple weeks here, RJ, we'll be
Yep.
back in DC again. This time, February of 1940, and we'll be looking at the first appearances of Hourman and Lex Luthor among the things we'll be reading. So that should be exciting for you.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and you guys can if you guys want to go to my community page every now and again, I usually will put stuff. I have post up there now like the schedule of what we're covering on those and all that and codes. And when I do have the codes, I usually when I'll put if there's any like special notations I need to put in there, like specific issue numbers or what have you, or if there's like specific characters that are introduced stuff like that. So you guys might want to take a look at that. But anyways, yeah. So, um, is there anything more you wanted to talk about with the publishing and distributing stuff, RJ? Or
Only that I have to get right back to it now because I've got to give the cover artists time to redo the cover for the Devil You Know Best because we have to get spine width calculated correctly, and for that we have to know the page count. To know the page count, I've got to get the edits done so that we can say, oh yeah, here's the total number of pages after all the edits are done. Because every time you change it, paragraphs shift up and down. And we got to kill all the widows and orphans. We got to put all the italics in where they go. We got to put in all our little paragraph break markers. We're in the tedious realm right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, I hope we can get
I
on,
hate
on
the
the
TDS
panel shows here, more often. Again, I know you've been busy as heck lately, but I really do appreciate having you on. You add a lot to the conversations. I really do appreciate it.
I need to take the breaks, but I also need to get back to it now because it looks like this book is going to be 504 pages.
I send you the link every week, so feel like you can come on and look. I try to do this for at least a couple of hours here. So
I know. I mean, the Devil You Know Better came in at roughly 380 pages. This 380. We're looking at 504 to 516 pages for the new book. So it's going to be big. It's going to be as big as gosh, when I'm talking 500 something pages. There it is. I've got books. I try to keep all of our books in hand. This book was 528 pages, and it's brick. This was our Brothers Grimm book that we did. And this hardcover book, I've got a soft cover. It's just as thick, but smaller.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
And RJ, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want there are a couple of things here that so Wayne's saying learned a lot, thanks, and then JR here is saying my email is that if you like to email me, RJ. So if you want to try to take that down from the YouTube.
I got it.
page.
Yeah, I tried to send him a message in here asking him to DM me or email me, and it got flagged by YouTube and wasn't allowed to go through. So,
all right. Well,
because I used the word email or something.
You got his email though, right?
Got it now. Yes.
All right. So, all right, RJ. Well, I think we covered everything we probably could with that particular topic. I kind of wish you could stick around. We could talk some more general stuff.
Oh, I know, but I wanted to get this done tonight. It's not going to happen. I'm about 15 to 20% through it all, and it's getting late already. So,
yeah. Well, before you go, one last thing. I want to give you a chance if you want to, before you leave, if you want to do an outro of some type, maybe share any links, promote anything. You do one last little promotional shout out.
It's all on criticalblast.com. We got little tabs at the top there. You can hit our store link. You can hit our books and publishing link. Everything's right there across the top. I've started streamlining it so people can find out where we're publishing and what we're distributing. So do
you still have your news site as well, or did you just take?
Yeah, it's still the same site, but the tabs across the top have changed. So whether there's a store link, there's a logistics link for that information, and there's a books and publishing link for that information, and then it's just the stuff that gets reviewed now and then.
Yeah, well,
that was what we originally started doing, and
your people have not been putting up a whole lot of news stories to begin with.
What people? What people? I got very few people.
Well, outside of you, there's one or two other people who do every once in a while put stories up, put news articles up.
Yeah, like Dennis Russo just put up an article the other day, but he's our music editor guy, and he gets into the hardware of phonographs and needles and amplifiers, and he speaks a language that I don't understand. But he just put one up. But yeah, most of the other guys, they retired or moved on to other places. So a lot of the movie review people are out of the game now. We still occasionally get some Blu-ray reviews from Stu. We get horror reviews from Damascus, who, by the way, is going to be in The Devil You Know Best. as well as I will be this time. The Devil You Know was originally kicked off because I had a short story of that name that I hadn't finished. I'm like, this will give me the impetus to finish it, and it didn't make the first book, and I was the editor. So I'm like, that's okay. I saw the cover. I'm like, we're gonna do 2 more of these things, and we did the second one, and I still didn't make the deadline of my own book, which I can change the deadline on. I still didn't do it. I got in this one. I was like, screw this. This is my last shot. We're going in.
Yeah.
So I'll be the last story in the last book, which
Actually,
is
we're at an hour 35. We're coming up. So we're coming up. We've already been at this for an hour and a half. So I think maybe I will start to wrap things up a little bit here. You want to stick around just for a couple more minutes, RJ? Because I think I will. We're gonna just do the this day in each history, and then
Okay.
we'll probably just wrap things up because we had a good conversation tonight. Did you guys enjoy yourselves?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
RJ?
I always do.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, today being Sunday, February 25th, 2024, let's take a look back at this weekend in Nietzsche history. History! Let me just check a couple things here. 2014. All right. So first off, we're going to head back to yesterday. 20 years ago yesterday. Oh, wait. No, wrong one. Hold on. 20 years ago yesterday. There we go. 20 years ago yesterday. Let's see. The anime Yugo the Negotiator premiered on Japanese television on yesterday's date 20 years ago today. Originally, the first half of the series was produced by G&G Direction, the second half being produced by Artland. So 20 years ago yesterday, Yugo the Negotiator premiered in Japan. Now, moving ahead to 10 years ago yesterday. 10 years ago yesterday. 10 years ago yesterday, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Resch Center in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Of course, it saw the Undertaker. It featured the returns of Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, who returned to the WWE for the first time in 7 years at that point. Undertaker making his, of course, his initial return, in preparation for his, at the time, his WrestleMania match after being gone for a while. That night also saw, in the main event, Bray Wyatt defeat Roman Reigns by disqualification. The Usos defeated the New Age Outlaws. Let's see, and those are probably the 2 big matches on the night. So with that, 10 years ago yesterday, was the Monday Night Raw event from the Resch Center, and then let's see. I don't live in Alberta. If you need to know for shipping prices, Canada Post is flat rate, I think, and own Pure Later Shipping, UPS, DHL. All right. So, anyways, moving on to today's date, 1984. Okay. All right. Well, 40 years ago today, back in 1984, voice actor, animator, and writer Bob Ogle passed away at the age of 57.
Yep.
Bob Ogle was known for, of course, as the title character in the Quickie Koala Show, as well as Digger the Mole in Shirt Tales. He was an animator and writer for Hanna-Barbera. So, Bob Ogle, the voice of Quickie Koala, passed away at the age of 56 on this date 40 years ago. And then moving up to 2009, 15 years ago today. So I can get there. On this date, 15 years ago today, back in 2009, the 20th issue of Dynamo 5 from Image went on sale on this date back in 2009. It sold for $3.50, 32 pages.
I wonder whether it was Dynamite.
Or Dino Mutt.
Yeah. Anyway, so with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope hope everybody enjoyed the show. Well, before we go, I'll start with Rick, go to RJ, and then I'll wrap up. Actually, we already did RJ with his outro, so I'll let Rick go, and then we'll wrap things up here. So, Rick, you want to go ahead?
Well, just I have a YouTube channel. I do comics myself. And if you want to go check out my YouTube channel, I usually do a stream once a week where I just chill and chat with whoever wants to come on, with where I put out the link and have a good time, chilling. It's the chill stream. So I think everybody should know. If not, just cross comics on YouTube.
All right.
And then got to cross. I think the symbol. So pretty easy to find.
All right. All right. Anything else, Rick?
No, I'm good.
All right. And with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here, of course, tomorrow with more niche news. Don't know who I'll have on yet, but I'm gonna try to find a guest to come on with me tomorrow night. As some of you may have known, I started last week having a co-host on with me to do the news, to have some more commentary and hopefully spark more conversation. And of course, this Friday, I'll have Terry from Mighty Geek Studios on as my co-host, as we will be finishing up our coverage of January 1940. We'll be looking at some books from United Feature Syndicate. Initially, I was just going to do the single series number 15, which how it all began, which from what I understand is a puzzle book. Then I came to find out that I can't find a copy of the book. So, but since I've already had the time schedule, there's no way to change it around. I figured, okay, we'll just look at some other, but we'll read some other stuff from there as well. So, anyways, with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow as well as every night. So until then, bye.